Keeping it festive right here on the North Morning Show. Parang in the wrong house. Hopefully you're parang in the right house this morning. Welcome back. This morning it's Tobago Thursdays and we head back across to Tobago to chat with the Corporate Secretary of the Tobago Civilnet, Mr. Leroy George. He joins us via Zoom. Good morning to you, Mr. George.
Good morning. How are you today?
So far, so good. How are you doing?
I'm very well.
All right. So I understand that the Tobago Civilnet, you guys have decided to do a poll to see how Tobagonians have been responding to the THA that has been elected for the past year.
Yes.
Tell me the reason that you decided to do it at the 1 year mark and not at the usual 100-day mark or anything like that.
There was the feeling among some members of the Civilnet that 100 days wasn't sufficient to get a real holistic idea of what was going on. And so we did try to consider 6 months. There was still that feeling, that pervading feeling that 6 months wasn't sufficient to really evaluate them. And in the Tobago Civilnet, we do things with consensus. We have persons who may support one party or next party, etc. Persons with so much different philosophical, political ideas, etc. So only when we have consensus do we make a move, do we express our opinion, do we do anything. And so we were able to gain consensus for 1 year. And that's why we're doing this particular evaluation. That's why we're doing this poll after 1 year.
Now, it's very interesting, Mr. George, because around the world, I mean, we see the U.S. democratic system. We see even in Trinidad and Tobago, after 100 days, we tend to evaluate the government at bay and see exactly what's going on. I understand the consensus, but do you think it gives them an unfair advantage of not being judged fairly, judged like the rest of the world is judged? Most politicians have that when you get into government or get into that seat of power or representation. In the first 100 days, we kind of get an idea of what you're about.
Right, and I would agree with that statement, right? I think 100 days was more than sufficient time. However, again, it's about consensus. So even though what you're saying may be correct, maybe internationally it's usually 100 days and not a year, whilst that may be correct, here in Tobago, Civilnet in particular, we like to do things even better than what we're accustomed to. And what we're not accustomed to is consensus. And we got the consensus for 1 year, and that's why we're doing it in 1 year. And I think it works out really well because, as you could see, certain things did happen just around the 1 year anniversary, December 6th being when the new administration would have won the election. You're seeing so much things happening right now, and persons are more interested in being a part of that conversation right now than they would have been 100 days after they were elected into office.
But tell me something, don't you think that the recent events would definitely have an impact? I mean, you're saying people will be more interested in putting their say in it. But do you think that it would impact it negatively, positively? Because I mean, right now is the focus on the THA because of all of the perceived bacchanal that's going on, right? Is that what we want to be able to assess, or do we want to assess the actual performance?
I think it will have an effect. I think it's going to have a very positive effect, right? Because in the Tobago space, let's say just 1 week ago, you asked persons about the THA Act, they wouldn't be able to tell you much about that.
Right.
You ask people about the standing orders that govern the Tobago House of Assembly, they wouldn't be able to tell you much about that. Now the average person with a decent high school education, they could tell you exactly that the THA Act does not recognize political parties, but it recognizes assemblymen. They could tell you about Standing Order 92 and how that could result in a re-election depending on how the judiciary, they could tell you about the 3 arms of government. Right now, we're probably standing head and shoulders above our Trinidad counterparts, and that was not the case 1 week ago. Because of this situation that we have in front of us, everybody has become a political analyst in the legal space. I think it's wonderful. I think it's going to make sure that we have a really accurate assessment.
All right. So what do What does Civilnet hope to accomplish with the poll? Like, what is the purpose, the main purpose? I know it's not just to while up the thing and to get everybody involved in the bacchanal, but what is the actual purpose of the poll?
Here in the Tobago space, fortunately or unfortunately, you have a situation where the employer is depending on the employee for employment. And what I mean by that, we the regular Tobagonians, we the electors, are the employers of the elected persons, the political officials, etc., the THA executive council members, etc. However, in the Tobago space, you have 60% of Tobagonians being employed directly by the Tobago House of Assembly, with an additional 20% being employed by companies who operate underneath the Tobago House of Assembly via contracts, etc. And so the level of democracy could sometimes be not as high or not as good as one would expect in other places. Once, however, we have a thorough understanding of what is expected from the employee, which is the Tobago official, the Tobago government official, and we have a clear message coming from the employee, I think we could regain that equilibrium, for want of a better wording, or the more natural state of affair, which part the THA now has to answer to the people, and not the people afraid to speak out to the Tobago House of Assembly. And that is one of the things that this poll is going to be able to accomplish. It could create some very positive changes in the Tobago space in how we do politics, etc.
Definitely, and that's democracy, right? That's the idea behind democracy on the whole. But tell me something, how do we access the poll, and how do Tobagonians take part in the poll?
That's a lovely question. What I'm going to do, you could check the Tobago Civilnet page, right? That's just Tobago Civilnet on Facebook, and we will have it pinned at the very top of the Tobago Civilnet page. Also, you could WhatsApp me if you want me to send you the link. I'm going to give you the number now, 750-8369, and I'm going to send you the link. Also, besides that, if perchance we're able to get on to this, if you're posting this on your TTT page, I'll put it in the comment section also, the link that could be used for the poll.
Fantastic. But is it only available online? Is the poll only available online?
For now, the only way, we're not going to release it until the end of this year. So for now, we only released it a couple of days ago. For now, we only have that online link, but we are going to reach out to the people on the ground, because we know there are still some persons among us, maybe older persons, that do not really go for the online thing. So we're going to reach out to them also in such a way where they could fill out a form or something and be a part of this process.
All right, Mr. George, before we go, tell me what happens to the results of this poll. When we gather all the information, what do we do with it?
We publish the results, and then once we publish the results, everything falls into place. There's going to be a domino effect. The THA Executive Council will know where they stand, and because of the situation that's going on right now, they need to have a very firm standing. So they will know where they stand, they will know where they need to improve, etc. And one would expect that they will make the necessary adjustments to improve the grade, irrespective of what it is. Whether it's a grade, they might want a plus instead of a grade, or whether they get a F, they might want a D instead of a F, or whatever is necessary, that they would understand that we, the employers of them, the employee, are keenly aware of what is going on.
Definitely.
And they would act in accordance.
Now, before we wrap up, I just have one quick thing. Tell me the mood on the ground. Was everybody surprised by this resignation, this mass resignation, or was it expected?
Highly expected. The political leader of the PDP, he did state on many occasions that this THA executive was employed by the people through a mandate, and he felt as though they were not staying in tune with that mandate. There were promises made, like, for example, in every community, every community is supposed to get $10 million per year. so that they could deal with the development issues within that community, then we would have heard later on that instead of 10 million, it will be 150,000. That's 1.5% of what was initially promised. We heard things like that, and the political leader, Mr. Watson, you could have been saying on a regular basis, if you can't keep up with the mandate, then you can't represent this party anymore. And so eventually there had to be a divorce of some sort. And if it didn't come via their resignation, it would have come to an expel. They would have been expelled, long story short. So it was just a matter of which came first, but the end result would have always been the same.
Thank you very much, Mr. George, for joining us this morning, and we definitely look forward to the results of that poll.
No problem. Thank you for having us.
No problem. Take care. Enjoy your day.
Enjoy yours also.
Thank you so much. That's Mr. Leroy George, the Corporate Secretary of the Tobago Civilnet. They have a poll that's available online. You can just get him a WhatsApp, 750-8369, and you'll be able to get the poll if you're in Tobago. And they're also going to be coming around with physical copies so you can take part in it. We take a quick break. We come back with more in the Now Morning Show. Stay tuned.